Hi everybody, I'm Shinobi from Bitcoin Magazine, and I'm sitting down here with Lisa Neigut, formerly of Blockstream, currently head of Bitcoin and Base58 Bitcoin developer course. How are you doing, Lisa?
They're really good, yeah, they're great. I'm actually still kind of at Blockstream. I work for them. Just recently went back to do things 1 day a week, helping out with core lightning stuff, so it's part time, but...
Being a bit of a mercenary.
I think it's more like, core lightning is a big project and there's not like experts on it. And so having me back helping out with like pull requests and getting people's like, trying to unstick some of the processes, especially for people that aren't as experienced on the project, is kind of a big thing. So it's kind of weird when you like, I don't know. I've been working in Bitcoin for a longish time now, and it's interesting when you stay in the same industry for a long time, how like the sort of work you're able to do kind of changes. That sounds weird, but like, I think most software devs, you kind of switch around every couple of years, like try something different. Working in Bitcoin is definitely the longest I've ever been in like a single industry, let alone like working on the same project for like almost, it'll be 6 years this year.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it's like, it's cool because I was like, yeah, of course I can like help out with pull request stuff. So Dusty and I have been, he's got this really cool pull request for splicing stuff. He's writing kind of a little like language where you can make complex splices happen.
Oh.
So like if you want, let's move 10 million sats out of these 3 channels and create a new channel with 30 million new sats. So like basically a reorganization. You want that all to happen in a single transaction. So the idea is that you could have a little description language where you can easily express what you want to happen. And then your little node will just like make that one transaction happen, do all the negotiation to make all the money move between all the channels in a single little thing, and so it's like easy to do. Anyways, we've been live streaming, me going through it, and I think it's like 8,000 lines of code or something, like maybe only 6,000. But yeah, it's a lot. Anyways, yes, I'm doing code review stuff with Blockstream occasionally.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah, I think so.
So, like how's things been going with Base58? Like I've been wanting to sit down and take those courses myself. Hopefully, Mark and Pete will approve a little budget to pay for that for me after this. But
yeah, I think it'd be a good investment. Yeah, so honestly, I've been running a lot of conferences this first half of this year, more than ever. I would not recommend trying to run 2 conferences 8 weeks apart. Just not recommend it. So it's been a little bit crazy, but the last thing I've kind of been doing on Base58, there's 2 things. One is we managed to get there's the very first Base58 class is all about Bitcoin transactions. We split it into 2 parts and kind of put them up on Udemy as self-paced classes. So I got the second half of that up like at the end of January, right before I got super busy with conference season. So now you can get on Udemy and you can go through all of our first like basic transactions class on your own. I think that's really great for some people, and other people like, I don't know about you, but I don't really do an online class. Like I need like a cohort and stuff. So we haven't been running classes because we've been traveling a lot and it's hard to like know if you're gonna have internet somewhere, you don't make commitments. But I'm hoping that after this, so this next week we'll be launching a new class schedule. Hopefully get some an opportunity to kind of sign up for, you could like do the online class, but sign up for the cohort. We meet like every week and go to them together and like, I don't know, just hang out, like have friends that you're doing a class with. It's fun. Yeah, so stuff there's going really good. I'm hoping to get some more curriculum done. I really want my next class I want to get out, especially on Udemy, as a Taproot class. So been thinking about how to make that one happen. And yeah, what else is going on? Other stuff for Base58, sorry, I could talk for, okay. Other stuff we're working on at Base58. So that's kind of like I guess there's 2 other things. One is we recently filed to be a nonprofit, which is exciting. So hopefully that means we'll be able to start getting in scholarships, to like open up a scholarship application for our classes. Yeah, it would be really good. So we're working on like just kind of getting a legal structure there. We're mostly set up. Whenever you apply for a nonprofit, it usually takes a couple months to get like the final like sign off from the state, from the government. anyways, so we're working on that. So that's very exciting because I think it'll give us a lot more flexibility around the sorts of things we offer and how accessible we're able to be for different people. The other thing, last thing we've been working on kind of is the third project is this thing called the Bitcoin LARP, or the Base58 Bitcoin live action roleplay, which is like it's a super technical game, but it's really meant for anyone of all people of all ages and different like places in their Bitcoin journey to get to experience how Bitcoin works technically. We did our first ever facilitator training thanks to an OpenSats grant and also like a bunch of contributions we got from Geyser Fund, which is helping us like build our first I think we're gonna build 40 boxes. We've got 20 done, we're working on getting the next 20. And there's some here, I feel like, you guys want to go check out what we've been working on with that. But we did our first ever training of people who want to run their LARPs for their own communities, like wherever they are, and handed out boxes. We did that in Mexico last month, or March, I guess that was almost 2 months ago now. We had 21 people come from all over the US. We had some from like Argentina, El Salvador, Mexico, some of them from Hawaii. We had Stephanie from Trust Africa came over to learn how to run them. So I think they'll be trying to run one at their Africa Bitcoin conference. So we're able to kind of take these kits and have everyone sit down, go through the process, practice trying to run it themselves, like get their questions answered. Maybe like just building confidence in their ability to like run it for themselves, and then we sent them all home. So I'm waiting for my first progress reports from like coordinators, like how their first LARP went, if they've done one. But
yeah, I'm actually very disappointed. One of my buddies from the Chicago BitBegs came down for that and he got one.
Yeah.
I'm sadly gonna miss the next BitBegs because I'll be out of town again.
Oh, so you're gonna run it then? Okay, yeah. I think we just mailed out the boxes like last week. I'm just, there's a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, people finally started getting their boxes and they're running stuff and it's very exciting. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff going on, but it's all really exciting and it's really fun to see like kind of these new communities grow. Like we had so much fun in Mexico. It was like David Rodriguez, who works at Swan, has been really helpful. Kind of was like part-time helping me out get the LARP stuff, like moving inventory, like parts ordered. He organized the whole event and had like this great like cultural experience because we were in Guadalajara. I had never been to Guadalajara before. We got to like go to like traditional restaurant, and then we did like a day trip to this little town called Tequila, which maybe you've heard of. I was not aware it was actual place. So we went to the place and we went to a tequila factory, which is where they make the local like spirits in agave. So yeah, it was really fun. It was good. Things are good. Yeah.
So are you trying to kind of like going forward, branch out and kind of cover both bases as far as things go, educational, like something for the developers and people who actually want to start building on things,
yeah,
but also like just your average person and kind of help them get a better technical understanding?
That's a good question. I mean, like the way I think about it is Base58 is like, I've been calling it like the Bitcoin Protocol School or whatever. I think we rebranded Base58 School of Engineering. So I think the online content and the sort of like class-led education that I'm doing is always going to be pretty like, I would say mid to senior levels of kind of geared. Like I don't think I'm going to be anytime soon. I don't think I'm going to be doing classes for like entry-level devs, if that makes sense. Maybe. I mean, like our transactions class, we've had new devs go through it and learn a lot. It's great. Like, not to say that if you're new, you shouldn't take it. You should definitely do it. I think it's worthwhile. But I don't think that I'm looking to really expand into like the middle ground of Bitcoin education, if that makes sense. The LARP game I really like because it's such a great teaching tool for even experienced engineers. Does that make sense? Like I kind of see the LARP game, even though it's accessible. Chris Guida, who's like a huge Base58 supporter and is on our board, he's kind of the one who pushed me to start getting other people running LARPs and like really start getting it out to other communities and like basically removing myself from the like dependency graph of like getting this done. Because for him, he's like, this game really helped me level up in my understanding. So then when I went into your classes, like I have it's like, it's part of the same project, if that makes sense, even though it just so happens to also be super accessible for like aunts, uncles, and like cousins.
So this is more just like an accidental benefit rather than like a primary goal.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I think it's the accurate way to say it. It's also just fun. I don't know. I do it's fun. I think it's fun. It seems like a good idea to get more of these going. Just based on like, it's really interesting to watch people that don't think they can understand Bitcoin, they LARP, and then they walk around. Like so like they do the they'll do the event, like they'll come, and like as they're starting to like learn what they need to do and like completing little tasks, you can just see their eyes light up. And like whatever that anxiety that they had brought into the room with them about like, oh no, it's a technical Bitcoin thing. Like I know Bitcoin's difficult, and I know Bitcoin is something I don't understand. And I know that technical things I struggle to understand. So I'm expecting this to be hard and like over my head, and I'm not going to have a good time. And then I come in, and like the way that we do it is like, I like to think it's like, it's kind of, we build on things, so at the end it's chaotic, but we slowly, you get small wins. Like we build your way up to like complicating things. And it's super fun to see people's faces kind of start lighting up as all the parts start like building like a model in their heads, and like, oh wait, I got this. Like, this is something I can do. And so all of a sudden, like, there's all this like confidence that the room starts to like live, and people are really excited because they're like, they thought it was gonna be hard, and like it wasn't easy, but they were able to do it, and they get excitement. Anyways, I really like that about the game.
Well, as far as like the curriculum and the future goes, like Taproot, you said was your next focus.
Yeah.
I assume after that, depending on how the next year or two goes, the Giants task of Covenants would be the next one.
I originally had it on my list to try and do a Covenants class like next week. That kind of got scratched because I was like, I literally don't have time to write a whole new class. And also I don't have time to like figure out what all the Covenants stuff is. Like, I'll learn at the conference maybe. I just haven't had as much time to go to talks as I would have liked. It's fine. It was normal. But yeah, Covenants is on there. I recently came out with like this cute little roadmap of like start the transactions class, and you can go to like Lightning or learn about like wallets or Mempool stuff. And like at the end of it, you can learn about Covenants. Is like kind of like my idea of like a final boss. So yeah, I think having a Covenants class at some point would be really great. But you kind of do need you really do need like transaction basics and basic crypto, and you need like a Taproot class before you can get to like, there's like a little pyramid you have to like climb. Tech tree, I guess. The Bitcoin tech tree. Other classes I really want to get done that are on my I've done like mini versions. I did a mini version of a Mempool class in Prague last year. That was super fun. I don't know, Mempool stuff is fun, especially because it's something that is kind of important to understand. But I feel like it's like sort of just like a big concept.
Yeah, well, every time I've really tried to dive into the mechanics of the Mempool, I've walked away with a very big headache.
Yeah, I think it just like works in surprising ways. So like I was doing research for this class last summer, and I found out some surprising things. And I ran into Max from Wasabi, and I was like, Max, did you know about this like ancestor-child like descendant rule about like debuffing, basically, child pays for parent? And I was like explaining to him what that meant and how it was different, like how it was surprising, new information I had learned. But basically, as I was telling him, you can see his eyes get wide, and he starts texting one of his buddies at Wasabi, because the way that they had been telling people to like help push a coin join through actually was like useless based on the way that Mempool mechanics work. Does that make sense? But it was so niche. Like Wasabi's like a big company, right? Like they do a lot of Mempool stuff, but this is such a niche like thing, which is non-obvious, and it doesn't work the way you expect it to, and there's no reason that you would think to go look at how it works, because the way you expect it to work just seems really obvious. But in reality, it was like, yeah. The general thing is that we have a big transaction like a coin join. Ideally, there's other, like if it's too big and it can't get into the next block, it doesn't have enough fees. Usually you would take one of those outputs and spend it again, so then there's two transactions, and you give this one a lot of sats and fees, so the miner's incentivized to take both of them. The way that the current algorithm works to decide which transaction to click in only really looks at each child individually.
So if you have multiple people doing that, it's not gonna actually
Only the
calculate.
next biggest one. Like the biggest, like it only counts if you're bigger than the last one. So like it doesn't sum them all up. This is the project. So yeah, so when you start understanding these things, all of a sudden like the cluster Mempool project that Peter Willett is working on, because it fixes that problem. Now you have this idea of a cluster. And that's really like, it's like when you find out it doesn't work the way that you expect it would, you're like, oh, of course it makes sense they're gonna like actually group those together, because that's like the minor optimal strat. Like the miner wants to know about the cluster. Cluster would be like the main one and all the little children together as like the little family, instead of like, you know, one child. It's like the current one you could almost say is like one parent, one child rule, like for evaluation, in terms of like eligibility. Anyways, yeah, it's funny you had the same reaction, but like
Yeah, that kind of shocks me.
yeah, and Max is also shocked. I don't know, Max, hopefully Max is an accurate presentation of what happened next, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, so Mempool class I think would be super fun, because I think there's a lot of fun stuff to talk about there. Definitely a lightning class. Like I've been running a lightning and a taproot class in person for like a week, so you have to come here and do it like in person. But it'd be great to get that out online so it can get like a wider audience. Is like the plan.
So kind of like finish fleshing out like the more script focused side with Taproot, and then just try to expand into like the other layers or scopes of things.
Yeah, and there's lots of great stuff. Like there's wallets, there's a cool wallet section that kind of does a little wallet tech work. You know, talk about inscriptions, like what is an ordinal, that sort of thing. Like that's a whole protocol that I'm sure people would want to buy classes for.
Might start a bit of a controversy.
I mean, they don't have to pay me to take the class if they don't want to. If you don't want to know how it works, it's fine. Like I'm not gonna hold it against you. Not everyone wants to know how Taproot works either, you know. But yeah, I mean, you know, honestly, it's interesting talking to devs and engineers that work on ordering protocols, like from like the building services and like what they're like the actual. So you know, Base58 teaches people a lot about how the protocol works, like what transactions are, how the script works, that sort of thing. But the majority of Bitcoin companies don't really require engineers to know all that stuff. It's very niche. Like most of the jobs that maybe touch it might be at something like uncheat another wallet, or you know, one of the big custodians might have a little bit, but even then the amount of like your opportunity to do actually interesting script work as a corporation in the Bitcoin space is really quite limited in my opinion. Like interesting cool jobs where you're actually using the stuff that I'm teaching for quite some. That's not necessarily the case over in the Ordinals like ecosystem. They're doing really cool, interesting, cutting edge stuff with like SIGOps. Not SIGOps, SIGOps flags. Which like most devs have no idea what that is, but like over there they're like doing these PSPs. Like they need to know what PSPTs are. They need to know how TypeScript works because all the contracts are TypeScript written. Like a lot of like the really like I have a friend who's working on a project where he does these like really complicated lock time transactions that he sells to customers with like complicated child pays for parent like situations where they can like basically sign up to get mints. So he's crafting like really specialized transactions and has done a lot of engineering around like actual transaction construction. He's complaining to me because his customer service basically means he has to start building all these like special transactions to fix problems that his customers have. And it's like, oh, like Base58 students would actually be like the perfectly trained people to help you with those problems. Like they have cool like engineering problems around like the Bitcoin protocol that like I think more in like more number of jobs because they're doing more. There's more stuff that they're doing like just to actually make the stuff work compared to most Bitcoin engineering companies in the space. So, anyways, I think that's a little, you know, people like that's controversial that you would want to do a class for that, and it's like yeah, but that's also like I don't know in terms of like demand and like you're more likely to end up if you really want to do Bitcoin protocol stuff, building transactions, etc. There's more opportunities most likely in that sector of the industry than any other one. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it makes perfect sense that they're pretty much entirely focused on self-custodial tools, whereas if you're just concerned with payments and investments, it's just to hold the money and don't lose it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and interesting things you could do with script to make like different whatever, you know, anyways, like, yeah. From an engineering perspective, they are like, and you know, like in some ways, like from the Ordinals ecosystem, you're going to end up with devs that really better understand it, have more experience with like what I would say some more the base level protocols, because they're actually users of them, than like more generic like Bitcoin devs that may work on building Lightning apps, for example, who are like really kind of like 1 or 2 levels away from that level of protocol work. But, yeah, it's a reality.
So like, well, I've been talking to a few people who mentioned like they're looking for like others to kind of come on board and like help teaching like actual classes and things. Like, what are you thinking in terms of like expansion long term with the physical in-person classes?
Yeah, that's a great question. Coordination is hard, so like I wish I had more of like a solid answer on that. I think ideally like I want Base58 to be like a place that if you have a class or like a thing, like kind of like a structure, like an umbrella, and it's like, okay, like you want to run a class, but you don't want to have to like work at finding students or like, I don't know, you just want to like do the class, you know, like you want to make it and like people will come, and you don't like care, like whatever. Yeah, it'd really be fun to start getting a bunch of people that know a lot about stuff and helping them like get a class put together, and whether that's here in person or something they're teaching online, you know, wherever they are. That's definitely like a long, like maybe not even that long term, right? Maybe a shorter term than whatever. But I think one thing I'm really missing is like I need to get my platform figured out, like on the website, like where are the classes, how do you find it, that sort of thing. Like my information organization on the website right now is just absolutely atrocious. So I think, yeah, maybe it's something I'll work on this month, and so next month I'll have more of like here's what we've done, and here's like the first person that's running like another class or whatever. I think long term, like I really like curriculum writing. I mean, I love teaching, don't get me wrong, but like helping people write their own curriculum, I think would be like a really fun thing to be doing like more. So.
Well, yeah, it's this whole project. I think is you are really kind of taking the reins on one of the biggest shortcomings in this space. That's like not just throwing developers at Stack Exchange and being like, good luck, like. I hope to see you building something next year.
That's true. Yeah, that's really true. And it is interesting how much of like, you know, like good instruction is hard, like good curriculum, like, you know, what you get told in what order and like what pathways someone shows you through an information landscape really matters, I think, in terms of your success. So yeah, I like to think of the kind of work that I do is mostly like figuring out what that pathway should be. Like I go out, figure out what the landscape is, and I chart the little path, and I'm like, okay, you come this way. And by the end, you'll have like gotten through all the stuff that you really do need to know, but hopefully in like a way that when you don't realize so much about how much you're learning, how fast. You see, and you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad, you know. It's like we're like up at the top of the mountain now, but I didn't realize that was like so busy long little pathway. I had a really fun like success story from like there's a bunch of Base58 students here. I've been giving them all my lanyard, not like lanyards, so you can like recognize them. One of the guys here, his name's Jeff. He was in one of my very diverse classes. Like my first and second class were 10 students. There's 2 people from there that are still here and they're still in Bitcoin and stuff. One of them's still below, who now works at Betty. So he was an early Base58 student, and the other was Jeff. Jeff, sorry, I don't know how long you have to talk, but one of my, so when Jeff came in, he went to the class. It was like a 6-week online class of some nice basing. He's a local San Diego local. So after the end of the class, he had so much fun. It was like super great. You know, he gets out of the class super like excited about Bitcoin, right? He's like, oh yeah, I understand this stuff now, sort of, you know, better than I did. So he puts together a presentation, like a slideshow, to take to his local San Diego, like, kind of Bitcoin meetup to talk about what he had learned. And I don't know if he showed up with it or he sent it to the presenter ahead of time. But his presenter was looking at it, the reaction of his presenter was like, oh no, this is so technical for our audience. Like, you know, it's one of those things where Jeff had gone from, like, had leveled up, you know? Like, he's like, let me talk about the things we learned in class. And someone was like, oh, this is like hard stuff, you know? Like, I don't know if we can talk about this in a general audience. You know, I think he did the presentation, it was really good. But it was just kind of funny to hear you, like, you know, Jeff 6 weeks earlier had been kind of in that boat. And then 6 weeks later, he comes out and he's like, let me just tell you about the things I learned. And everyone's like, whoa, you know? And so, yeah, it's fun to see that happen.
You're really doing important work that needs to get done to try and kind of give some structure and a path for people to get involved in this space. So like I really want to say like thank you. Like this,
Yeah.
this is something.
Thanks. Yeah, and it's fun. I love doing this, so it's good to know that it's the right thing to be doing.
Well, thank you for sitting on and talking.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
And sorry for the background noise, guys, but a quiet place is hard to find this week. Hope you all enjoyed.